Yeah, that sounds really good. Let's take a look at that. So here it is. What is it? Well, it's an ECG watch. Yes. Now those of you who follow the channel for quite a while know that Uncle Tix here really likes this new technology. Wow, look at that. This new technology that does heart wave stuff. I mean, Apple's just picking up on it right now. Their new Series 4 of the new Apple Watch is going to have this kind of stuff in it. We've been doing it for over a year now, mostly in fitness bands. This is the first true watch. Let's jump in and see what it can do. It has a sleeve. When you take that off, I mean, this is just made for unwrapping. It says ECG watch. When you open that up, wow, you get a nice felt presentation with the watch on the left side and then a little box on the right. We can pull it out of here and slip it out of its little bag, and this one has a really nice silver metal band to it. They're removable bands. And can you see down here? It says charging before using. And then underneath that it says ECG watch. So they've put a little cover over here to remind you to charge it. And of course that part is removable. It's almost on here as secure as a screen protector. Wow, you got to have nails to get this off. Okay, so we take that off, and now you've got, it says ECG watch. You have one button on the side. You have two metal plates on the back, the charging port, and the place for the PPG readings, the diode from right in there. The third electrode that matches with these two is the ring. So when you're doing your ECG measurements, you'll be seeing all I need to do is touch the ring somewhere. I usually put two fingers across from the other hand, and it's as simple as that. All right, let's set this aside, see what else we have in the box. Inside here, looks like we're going to have a charger and some other goodies. And when we open it up, yep, we got a bag. Pull that out. Whoa, whoa. We've got another set of, wow. Okay, so we've got a metal silver band. What if we, this is cool. I'm just going to rip into it. I've got rubber TPU band. Oh, and look at that. A tool. I'm sorry, was I off camera? I wasn't even looking. I'm looking at this. This is that little kind of a tool that you use to open up the pins to be able to replace the bands. So you can have it as a dress watch or a sport watch. The TPU is probably better, or silicone. They have lots of different names for this kind of material. This is probably best when you're going to be in a moist environment, if you're working out, doing stuff like that. And then this, when you go out on the town at night or whatever, get all dressed up for work. Really cool. I did not realize it comes with an extra set of bands and a tool for changing them. That must be what that other picture was on here. Yeah. And there's also the charging dock or connector. It's not really a dock. It's just two pins with a magnetic clasp that doesn't go that way. Goes that way, though. And standard USB for charging. And that's all there is to it. Yes, I will be turning it on, I promise. Oh, look at that. We've got a screen protector, if you want one, on there to protect it from scratches that you could install. And then we have, in Chinese, and I hope in English, a manual for it. Yeah, here we go. There's the basic look and operation with the button and plates in the back. And here's the QR code that you can scan to download the app. And oh boy, do I have a lot to say about the app. This is called the WearHeart, the particular app that this one uses. But you're not restricted to that app. You have a choice of, like, I don't know, 8 or 10 different apps that you can use depending on which one you like. You ever heard of that before? Me either. Let's page through it. It's not really talked about in the manual, but after playing with these for a long time, you kind of discover that the apps are interchangeable. Here's some of the icons that you're going to be seeing on the screen, and It's nice and bright. Some more information for you. Good to review this if you're going to get one of these so that you're really familiar with how it works, especially since this has that advanced ECG technology. And by the way, at the end of the video, if I remember, I'll put on that whole section that explains about ECG and PPG and PWTT in calculating heart rate, as well as the aspects of blood pressure, and of course the overall heart wave that you can get from these. And that's the manual. It really is an advanced technology. It's still not certified, verified, or proven out through the medical community. So it's a toy, it's a game, it's something to play with, and it's certainly not a replacement for medical advice. And you definitely want to work with your doctor on anything you get from this. But it does give you some very interesting data. Are you ready for it are you ready to see it finally? Finally, Mr. Tix. Let's clear the field. Let's press the button. Let's turn it on. I have charged it up. I have used it for the last couple of days. So it's an opportunity for you to see exactly what kind of data I have collected in it as well. First, I'm just going to walk through it. You press it to turn it on. Press it one more time. You have this icon-driven screen that's showing you your overall steps. Now, it has the flat tire on the back. It's not a full screen, but it really isn't that noticeable or important on this particular watch. You have the title down here, ECG watch. So once again, the time, the steps, the calories burned, the distance traveled. That's your standard pedometer stuff. Then you see the green diode starting to flash here in the back. When it senses that I'm there, it's going to, put my finger on it, do the blood pressure reading. I'm sorry, the heart rate reading in beats per minute. Heart rate calculated using the optical diode or PPG technique. I say that because this one does it a variety of different ways. It just vibrated, it stopped, and it shuts itself off. So it got that reading, and it's holding that in memory for transfer later to the app. After the heart rate comes blood pressure. And again, it's looking for the green diode to do it. So it's going to calculate your blood pressure now based on the optical PPG. And it's relatively quick. You get your systolic, which is the up arrow, and your diastolic, the down arrow, in millimeters of mercury. And it does a few readings. You see that? Before it settles down, boom, it vibrated, and it gave me the final reading. Now, if I advance from here, oh, it's going to loop me through again. All right. I get to the ECG page, and we'll come back to this. Then there's last night's sleep information. 4 hours and 18 minutes, it says I slept last night, and I got to keep moving, guys. I'm sorry. So you have that information, and then any messages that are pushed to the watch from your phone when you're tethered are there, and then you have a sports section. We'll come back to that. Followed by a timer, which you can press and hold the side. We'll walk through it since this is the longer part of the review, and you can start it, and it'll keep that stopwatch on the screen. It's not going to turn off, so if you want to be timing something, you've got it right here. You don't have lap time, but you have pause, and press and hold will take you out of it. Then you've got the find your phone. If I press and hold that, it rings the phone. Yes, I'm tethered. Too long. After, so you can find your phone if you've lost it, and then you can power down. All right, so that's the loop of everything that you see, with the exception that on the watch face, if I press and hold, I can change it. There's another watch face. Press and hold again. I go into this one with lots of interesting detail. Heart rate, steps. Press again. And we're to a really sweet analog watch face. And if you're thinking of this for grandma or grandpa, and they're not going to get technical, and they're like freaked out about it, well, that might be a good watch face to have it on, because you're going to get everything you need in the app once you transfer the data. But if you like it with more data, you can of course, switch over to another watch face. So there's several different display options in here. That's my favorite because it's nice and bright and easy to read for time. All right, that's everything that the watch can do. Two things I wanted to show you when you get into the fitness area here, the sport, press and hold, and now you enter these different things. You have a running option, a walking option, hiking, I guess, a bicycle option. There's no GPS now, and it's going to accumulate your heart rate and your calories burned, that kind of stuff. More sports, a variety of different options, working with rackets and balls and things, and then it's back to the beginning. And so to get into any of those, you press and hold, you enter it, press and hold again, and it'll begin. So it's counting the time, your heart rate, and your step count in this particular one. When you're done, you press and hold, and you're out of it. I think. Huh? There we go. Okay. And that reset it and took you back to the other sports until you loop all the way through them, and then you're back out to the main level. Okay, one more thing. Yeah, this is what I wanted to get to. And in order to show you the ECG in action, I actually have to have it on. So I'll put that together. Okay, well, you haven't seen it on yet, have you? Here's what it looks like. It's nice. It's thin. It's attractive. That's the metal band. Of course, you can imagine. Oh, yeah, it has the twist to see the time that you can turn on or off. It has, you'll see in the app, the ability to have a do not disturb mode as well. I'm in the ECG. I'm going to press and hold now, and it activates it. There's the ECG chart. I touch the edge, and you see the signal coming through. That's my actual heartbeat. How do I know it's real? If I mess around with it, you'll see I get static and noise. Press again solid, and I get the ECG. So if you're looking at your heart wave and you want to just kind of get a feel for what it's looking like in 30 seconds, that's what you get. And you saw it came back and it said to app. That means it stored that whole reading in the watch, and it will transfer when you tether to your phone and import the data through syncing it. And we only get one, though. If I were to do that again, it would wipe out the one I just did and replace it with a new one. So you only store one in the watch, but you do get the opportunity to send it over to your phone. And that is where we're going to go next, the app. Okay, I'm in the Google Play Store, and I'm not at Wear Heart, which is this app right here. I went, after going in here, to the actual author of that app, which is this company here. And it turns out that they have a whole bunch of different apps. And what I was saying at the beginning is that any one of these apps could be used and tethered to this watch. For example, here's Wear Health, similar to Wear Heart, and this is what the screens appear. This is one of the original screens. You have a mapping, you have group stuff, you have the place where you set your targets and whatnot. But look at the layout of the display. Now, if I go back, I could pick another one, like Go Heart. Here's the same basic kind of data layout, but it's got pictures behind the activities, and so forth. It's the same with all of these. They all have different appearances to them. They are marketed to different devices that use them as their tethering app, but they're all interchangeable. So you can go with Wear Heart, but if you'd like something else, feel free to download one of these other ones. When you actually get Wear Heart installed, you're going to need to set up an account and register and log in. And that's really a good thing, which you're going to find out about in a minute. Here's the opening page, and where am I at? 97 steps. It's been accumulating that data on here. Last night's sleep time, the step count, and then the PPG, that's the green diode, heart rate. So if I go in here, I get a synopsis of the data, downloading it either from the watch or the cloud, and it gives you basically your step count, your percent completed, step count, calories burned, and mileage over time in the 24-hour day, giving you a little bar chart. Whoops, that little thing fell off. So, and you got weekly and monthly, and you can show it by calendar as well. And you look at your sleep time. Here's last night's sleep, falling asleep at 1:06, getting up at 7:05, deep sleep, light sleep, and so forth, with a target and waking up 3 times. Pretty detailed in the information that you get in the graph as well, with your overall sleep capability. And that's simply by wearing the watch. And yes, when you go to sleep, the watch does not twist and light up on you if you have the do not disturb turned on. It goes into total silent mode for you. And then your heart rate, and you can do continuous heart rate, or at least a reading every half hour or hour. It gives you your sleep average heart rate, then your total average, your highest and your lowest. So with the sleep average, you're getting your baseline heart rate, right? Oh, here's something else I just found out. I've gotten a little bit more data on it so I could show you how it shifts. That stayed the same. Everything else has kind of have bounced around a bit. But watch this. If I touch the chart, I can get the actual measurement at the time when it was taken. So you have that capability as well. And of course, you can go back and load up yesterday. And here's when I was actually wearing the band yesterday from noon on. That's all through the night now, and there's midnight till noon. So really good continuous chart data on your heart rate if you have the continuous heart rate turned on, which we're going to see in a little bit where you do all of that in here. But first, the exciting page here. This page is where you do this whole ECG stuff. Now, this is all the PPG heart rate, right? This is your step count and whatnot. And this is where you use the electrodes. The ECG heart rate, ECG blood pressure, and the overall ECG heart rate variability analysis all happens here. This top section is that HRV health index. And you can get an overall reading here, which is general for me. You want to be in the optimal green, so I got some stuff I can strive for. But you can also go in and get drill down to some more significant data. Because this is a full review and this is such an incredible watch, I'm going to take time to go through some stuff with you. If this is boring, skip ahead. But I want to show you how you set the watch up so that you can really use it properly. There's 2 things. There's your calibration and then an overall measurement. Now, hopefully, you've got your baseline information on your systolic and diastolic from regular measurements that you've done when you've been in a resting condition. Perhaps from your doctor, most likely from a cuff you'd put on your own, or maybe at the local CVS or something like that. Anyway, if you've got this data, you can do precise value calculation. Otherwise, you do a grade calculation. And here's some tips about getting this thing all calibrated. When you do precise value calibration, you put in what your familiar, regular systolic and diastolic are. It's usually 120/80 or something. These are numbers I put in just to try some variability around that, and you can confirm it. When you do now, it's getting ready to go in. Now remember, this is an app that was designed for bands, and the bands usually have 2 electrodes on the outside with 1 underneath. Our watch operates differently. Can you guys still see that? Okay. I'm going to confirm this, and it's going to take me now to this screen. In here, we're going to calibrate the ECG and the little diode PPG on a 30-second test. So I have the band here, the watch here. I have, that's me licking my finger. I have wetted my arm because we want those electrodes to be solidly connected to your body. Make sure it's damp down there, and your fingers are moist for when you touch the edge of it as well. I can start the measurement right here. It gives me a countdown. That gives me a chance to grab the edges and see the chart starting. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but the watch is actually beeping with every pulse or peak of the ECG, just like you'd find in the doctor's office or the hospital. You're doing a a 3-point ECG with this. And the PPG, the optical diode shining light into my arm and reflecting back, is on the bottom. And it's calibrating everything based around the baseline measurement that I put in and the reading that it's getting from here. It was successful. So it's calibrated now. Next, I can actually do a real measurement. Ideally, this is going to be across from my heart. Right now, it's a little lower than that, but you'd be sitting relaxed after at least 5 minutes and so forth. Have it across your heart. Get ready. Start it. You have up to 4 seconds to make contact, and then it actually begins the measurement. Now, it's going to look a lot like, if not identical to, what we did in the calibration. And notice the watch itself is not displaying the ECG chart. It's fully sending its energy into collecting the data and Bluetoothing it over live to the app. You see the heart rate coming up there at 87, and my 125 over 80, 124. Now remember, I had 125 and 75 as my baseline, but it's coming up with a deviation from that. With my heart rate, there's no anomalies. My index value is 67, but look, it's also measuring from heart rate variability all these other factors. I'm going to confirm, and then I'll show you the detailed report on that. There, we're all done. And that completes this. Now, if I come back here, I could go in here, and it loads up all of the tests that I've done. Here was that one this morning earlier when I did it on the watch by itself. Let's check this. So if I go in here, I can get the health report by tapping here, and it generates that chart. Remember, it started, and I was talking about it, and I said, how do you tell if it's real? Well, you mess around with it a little bit, and you saw all of that squiggles, and then it straightened out. Well, there it is, the real chart. You can set it up with all of your information here, and you can create a PDF from here that you can then email to your doctor or health professional, archive it for yourself, whatever you want. It's got the date and time and all the information down here on the bottom. This could have been collected from my watch out in the field, wherever I was, one chart like that I could actually see on the watch while it was happening, and then transfer it over here to the app. As far as a detailed report, it said that my fatigue index was 50, and you can read the numbers. And this is the overall health advice that it gives you, which is kind of generic. But if you know what to do with these numbers, you've got them there. Pretty cool. Same thing for the one we just did. Only now, because we did it with that special app connection, it activated both the ECG and the diode. I could actually play back the entire chart live right here in the 30 seconds it took to capture it. And maybe a doctor would want to do that to be able to see in motion what's going on. But if you don't want to just watch it that way, generate the ECG chart, and there it is, nice and smooth and regular. And I don't see what they call AFib. Remember, the Apple Watch is supposed to detect AFib. I don't know much about it, but it's a variability that happens, I guess, between the beats of your heart. If they look like they're regular like that, it's more of a regular sinus rhythm. If they're doing other things, it's not. I don't profess to be a doctor, and I don't want to like say, oh, that means I'm good. I mean, everything's fine. It's just information. It's a kind of information that my doctor may want to see regularly. Boom, I hit share PDF and send it to him by email, and we're done. He's got an active record of a 3-point ECG chart. And all he needs is probably about 30 seconds. The detail report on this one comes up with these numbers, and they've changed slightly over time. My goal, if I ever calm myself down enough, is to drive that number way up here so that I'm in the optimal, above 90. I got a ways to go. But anyway, this is by day, so this was today's accumulation of charts. I did a little bit yesterday. You flip to yesterday, and there's everything there. So within the app, you can accumulate all of this historical ECG baseline and perturbation data that may be valuable in the future. Here's where it gets really fun. Remember I told you that you should log in? You have to create an account and log in here. Now, I'm talking to kind of two audiences. There's you who might be wanting to use this for your own health and you're knowledgeable and competent with all of this stuff. Or it may be one of your parents, a great-grandmother, I'm not sure what, might not be able to handle all of this stuff. Well, check this out. And I know this because the camera that I'm using to film with is actually a phone. It's the phone I take around all the time. And so when I started this whole testing with this watch, I logged in to this very same app on this phone. And I took it around with me and I played with, the watch to transfer and the what you just saw, the calibration and the measurement, and did it all here. Well, I logged in here with the same account I logged in there, and folks, every bit of data that I accumulated from my watch to my phone went to this phone. This phone could be anywhere in the world. So you live 1,800 miles away from your parents, but you've set them up with a watch like this and taught them how to just hit measurement. That's about all you got to do. They don't even need to look at the data. You remotely could log in, and as long as they're refreshing the synchronization here and the data is on the app, it's in the cloud. And if it's in the cloud, you can pull it down from any phone that's connected. So now you've got that remote monitoring capability for ECG and PPG and sleep data and walking data. I like this watch. Can you tell? I like this watch. So these are the ECG heart rates. That's just the basic stuff at the same time frame that we did the full thing. Here's the ECG blood pressure readings that you got. And each of these has an arrow that goes over there that shows you the same little chart that basically is talking about ideal and high and low. And just gives you the numbers in big. So this is pretty much all you need to see if you're staying in a certain area, if you need a little bit more meds or less meds, but talk to your doctor for prescribing the appropriate amount of medication to make sure you're within the proper range on your blood pressure, right? Don't self-medicate. So you got those things going. That's all of that cool health stuff. Care is a place, I'll touch it because it's going to take a while. It's going to load. It's going to search for my friends. So if it isn't good enough that you can also log in to the same account from other phones and see the same data, you could set up a separate account and log in and search for your grandparents or whatever and look at their data and share it through this sharing capability as well, keeping theirs separate from yours. I haven't played with that, but the capability is there within the app because you're setting up an actual account. Now we get to the final technical stuff. The device is connected. That's this particular watch. It was really easy to do. You can go into user settings, establish all of the stuff, including which hand you're wearing it on, and for better PPG readings, you can choose a skin color that matches, what do you think? What the heck? Let's go with that. Matches your real skin color. That should give you a little bit more accuracy, perhaps, in how it reads. You can change your password and you can log out from here. So you set all that stuff up for you as a user. By the way, that's what's going to appear on the chart. So whatever name you put there for your doctor or whatever, your height, your weight, your date of birth, and all of that is going to be in that PDF chart. Your target steps, your target sleep time, basic stuff. Then device management. Here's where you can coax it to do an hourly heart rate monitoring, and that's what we saw in the graph where I could slide along and look at any particular time. The lift hand or twist to illuminate is right here. And by the way, when you turn on the do not disturb down here between these time frames, which unfortunately you can't change, it's going to mute that, and your twist to turn to see the time will not work. It'll stay dark at night, which is really nice. If you're tethered, you can get a reminder for phone calls and SMS from your phone pushed right here to your watch. You can do more reminders if you get into here and set all those up. You can do your alarm clock settings. You can change time format, 12 and 24. what were we? We were at 12 something, so it's not going to show right now. It'll just be AM or PM. And metric or imperial. And firmware updates, if there are any, you can disconnect the device right there. So that's your overall device management. The shake snapshot mode is where we go in here and new, I don't want to tag location, but now I've got my camera that, oh, it actually shook when I moved it, and there, it took that picture. So anytime I shake the watch, it immediately is going to count down and take a picture. So that's for your selfies and all that kind of stuff, and then you can bail out of there and you've got those captured pictures on your phone. Find the device is beeping right now. Well, I haven't seen that icon because I haven't tried that before. Find device. It's not beeping, it's vibrating. It does have a beep in it, but the beep, I only heard a high frequency like the old Casio digital watches, that kind of a beep I heard during the ECG testing. And then there's overall operating instructions, frequently asked questions. You can download this app. You can read all that on your own. You don't need to buy anything for that. It's on the Play Store, easy to get to, as well as a lot of the other categories of stuff that you can read when you're in deeper into all of these different sections. So we've got an incredible watch here with an incredible tethering app. You've got the ability to change watch faces. There's a whole variety of them you can put in here. Of course, you got your basic step count and everything. We've seen that heart rate and blood pressure coming to you from PPG, and a full-on ECG system set up in this watch that you can see it on the track on your watch and transfer it over to the phone. And from there, PDF, mail it out to anybody you want to.